The commentary for the Masters today. 480 of the top players started, 63. 35th Annual American Bowling Congress Masters Tournament by Columbia 300 from the Tulsa Convention Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Presented by the American Bowling Congress, serving bowlers since 1895. Hello, everybody. I'm Duane with Mike Aulby. Mike, one of the top touring pros in the nation, who took part in this Masters tournament for a short time this year until he had to withdraw because of arm trouble. But that's a break for us because he's with us on the commentary for the Masters today. 480 of the top players started, 63 of those made it to the match play, plus defending champion Earl Anthony. And now, Mike, we're down to the top 5.
It's a fairly, not weak field, it's just inexperienced field with only one player with probably more experience than the rest of the TV finalists combined.
Yes, and that one player is a gentleman named Weber.
Pete Weber, a 6 title holder on the PBA Tour, strong bowler. Like I said, he has more TV experience than the other 4 finalists combined.
And another fellow out of St. Louis, tournament leader Steve Wunderlich. He's looking for his first pro title. Wouldn't he love to make it the Masters?
He's definitely in his best position to win a title by only having to bowl 1 game. He's been a consistent catcher all along. He's been in the title match twice before, lost both times, but this time he only has to bowl 1 game to get to that match.
You've bowled the Masters before. It's a different type of competition.
It's a long and grueling format. You bowl 4-game matches to get this far, especially if you lose that first match, then you've got a lot of bowling to do to get to the title match. Steve Wunderlich was able to win all his matches, and that's the way to do it.
And some people say it's like trying to climb a mountain if you lose an early match to try to survive and make it to the TV finals.
You bowl almost every squad after that, and it really takes a lot out of you. By the time it gets to the TV show to bowl, there's not much left.
All right, let's take a look at the styles now of some of these finalists. And the first man you'll see bowling is a big fellow named Dennis Jacques.
Yes, Dennis Jacques is probably one of the strongest bowlers on tour, not only with his bowling ball, but with his style. And his upper body is very strong. He has the ball about shoulder height, and with an explosive ball, probably one of the most strongest balls there is on the tour today.
Jacques' opponent, a fellow of whom we spoke earlier, Pete Weber.
Pete Weber, holder of 6 titles. The ball is very high in his backswing, even above his head. But this gives him the power to drive through with an explosive release. It'll be very tough to beat today.
And a fellow from my hometown, Rochester, New York, Tommy Kress.
Tommy Kress owns a pro shop, former touring pro. He has TV experience, leading the tournament in 1983 on the PBA Tour. Throws a very strong ball. He'll be very good today also.
An unknown, Gary Bauer.
Yes, Gary Bauer, an amateur. Not likely to be in this situation, but he bowled very well to get here. Very unorthodox style, brings the ball back around the side. But he has excellent finishing position and excellent release at the time of the follow-through.
And the tournament leader, 1 victory away from the Masters Championship, Steve Wunderlich.
Yes, Steve Wunderlich, always been a consistent catcher on the tour. We've often wondered why he hasn't won, but if he wins today, look for him to go on and win many more titles. He's a very strong bowler.
Now let's take a look at those stepladder finals. The first match, big Dennis Jacques going against Pete Weber. The winner of that match will take on Tommy Kress. The survivor of match number 2 will take on the Cinderella Man of whom we spoke earlier, Gary Bauer out of Middletown, Pennsylvania. And then the winner of that match will meet tournament leader Steve Wunderlich. Now, before our first match featuring Weber versus Jacques, we have Ed Bauer, who's with us today, and Ed had this conversation with Pete Weber.
Pete, in 1983, you were the #1 seed. You eventually lost to Mike Lastowski from Baltimore. Will you approach today's finals any differently than 2 years ago?
Well, no, I'm not going to approach any different. The only difference might be I'm going to be a little more aggressive today. I feel that I haven't been aggressive enough on the show, so I'm going to try and be a little more aggressive today.
Okay, your father's an ABC Hall of Fame member, yet he never won the Masters title. I'm sure it would be sweet to take it home to St. Louis.
Well, it would be great to take the trophy and the check for $40,000 home to St. Louis. It's like the Firestone. He's never won the Firestone, he's never won the Masters, and I have a chance to do both in 1 year, so I'm going to try and take at least one of them home this year.
Good luck today, Pete.
Thank you.
And so a look at Dennis Jacques as we start the competition. Duane with Mike Aulby on the commentary. Big crowd in Tulsa, Oklahoma. First ball of the finals and a 7-pin for Dennis Jacques. Mike?
That was a fairly good shot to start out with. He gave a little bit room to the right, didn't quite make it back, but it was definitely a good opening shot.
Hey, Mike, this fellow was the villain. He beat Earl Anthony twice and knocked the Earl out of the finals.
I'll tell you what, he throws a strong bowling ball, always tough in the clutch. So is Earl, though, but he made it this far.
Beat Anthony 956 to 732, putting Anthony in 6th place in the alternate position as Jakes out of Middletown, New Jersey, starts with a spare. And now his opponent, the flamboyant one, the chip off the old block, Mr. Pete Weber. And I know, Mike, you know him well.
Pete's a strong competitor. Look for him to come out strong and throw lots of strikes.
And quite a hairdo for these finals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Pete Weber have to win 4 straight matches to win this Masters Championship. A nice slow roll, but leaving the 4-pin.
Very good. You're right. Definitely a slow roll. He come out a little tentative on the first shot, not giving a lot of room.
All right, the winner of this match will take on Tommy Kress of Rochester, New York, a part-time pro. Now Weber trying to pick up the spare. So on lanes 27 and 28 here at the Tulsa Convention Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, another look at Weber's style.
Here's that first shot. Just a little bit tentative. You see his eyes. Watch those eyes just open up and watch his target all the way through until you see his ball roll by it. Explosive release. Just a little tentative, not quite giving the ball as much room as he needed to carry the strike in the pocket.
So we are even after 1 frame in this Masters Championship that goes back so many, many years to 1951 when Lee Juglar of Detroit won the very first Masters. 2nd frame, Weber.
Hot frame in that
Oh, yes. And so the first strike of the finals by Pete Weber, who is 20 in the first frame and a strike up in the second. And now a look at the big man. I think I mentioned to you before the show, if these fellas were to have a fist fight, I think I'd bet on Mr. Jakes.
He'd definitely be the pick for something like that.
But in bowling, as you know, Mike Aulby, the height and the weight of a particular individual not being that much as raw talent. And Dennis Jacques leaving the 7-pin.
Once again, the same shot, giving a lot of room, trusting his bowling ball. That's what you have to do on a TV show like that. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to give the ball room. That's what he's done. Just 2 bad breaks could have carried both those strikes.
Dennis Jacques won 5 matches and lost 2 to make the finals with 2 clutch victories over Earl Anthony. And going right at that 7th pin. And so we have Pete Weber out to a lead of 1 pin at the end of 2 frames. Weber, as you see, with that 1 pin advantage as we go to frame number 3. Boy, the money here, $40,000 for the champion. As in your game, Mike, in this wonderful sport of bowling, the prize money just going up every year. What a tremendous significance that has for this sport. 3rd frame. Oh, a solid hit.
Excellent shot. There we go again. Dennis tightening the lineup just a little bit, still giving the ball enough room, dead flush in the pocket.
So Jakes, after a couple of spares, finally breaks through the strike, and now Weber will be going for a double in the 3rd frame. Pete, he started by losing to Ted Stakoff in his very first 4-game match, 883 to 833. He then won 8 straight matches to blaze into these finals.
Pete, just a little bit tentative on that shot still. But giving the ball room. There we go. Here's the shot. Come through. Excellent release. Ball sliding just a little bit longer than he wanted it to. And he pins a little weak, getting a great break with a 6-pin just laying into the 10. Excellent break for a double. There's the reaction.
And you see the large crowd at the Tulsa Convention Center. As a crowd of over 2,000 by bowling standards, an excellent crowd in addition to a television audience and, of course, the many, many thousands who bowled in the American Bowling Congress National Championships on these very same lanes since February. Weber coming in high, leaving the 4-pin.
Still not a bad shot, just a little bit tentative still not opening up the lane. Needs to give the ball just a little bit more room on the lane, or possibly lofting the ball just a little bit farther to get the ball to break just a little bit later into the pocket.
So Weber, on the basis of his double, with a lead of 10 pins right now, and converting the 4-pin. And so after 3.5 frames, Pete Weber has the edge on his larger opponent, Mr. Dennis Jacques, who once had a tryout and was in camp for Frank Cush's Arizona State football team. And by looking at him, you can see that he'd be a candidate for anybody's football team.
Whoops, didn't like that shot.
No, sir. The 1, 2, 4, 8.
There's what we're talking about, giving the ball room. He just gave that an extra amount of room, and obviously the lanes aren't breaking back as well as the players would like. Kind of topped that one a little bit, but an excellent shot nonetheless.
This is his second Masters. He finished 95th last year. So far this year, he's earned just under $21,000 on an open frame for Dennis Jacques. He left the head pin in the gate and could not pick up that twister.
He tried to tighten the line up. He let the last one out extra wide, overcompensate on that shot, causing the ball to break too early and away from the head pin.
So Pete Weber now out to a decisive lead of 24 pins at the end of 4 frames, and Jacques had better start striking here in the 5th.
Pete will leave him behind if he doesn't.
Leaving the 10 pin.
Beautiful shot there by Dennis. He tightened up the line perfectly. Nice, firm shot. Excellent, just a bad break on a solid 10 pin.
Tricolor partner Mike Aulby came up with a bad arm. He shot a 248, then had to withdraw from the tournament.
Had a real good start. Then after that, had a reoccurring injury from the PBA National where I got a little bit excited about bowling and overturned the ball a few times and just strained some ligaments in my wrist.
As Jacques picks up the spare but continues to trail in the middle of the 5th frame of this opening match of the Masters Finals. The American Bowling Congress Masters Tournament by Columbia 300. Pepper Martin and all of the Columbia people doing a tremendous job with the sponsorship of this great field and this great event that goes back so many decades.
Oh, an excellent shot by Pete.
So he left the 7 pin there.
He gave the ball a lot of room, trusted it just like he had to do. Excellent shot, the 5 pin ripping off the sideboards and across in front of the 7. Bad break.
Now trying to pick up the spare. A famous backswing and conversion for Pete Weber.
Excellent spare shooter, Pete Weber. Very good.
So we're halfway through this match, and Weber continues to lead by 23 pins over Dennis Jacques. And Jacques really has to get rolling against Weber, who is trying to survive this first match and then have a shot at which would be a tremendous championship if he could get it.
Well, Pete's not going to make any mistakes to let him back in it, so Dennis is going to have to throw strikes to catch back up.
Crowd hushing. Weber in the 6th frame on a spare.
Looks good.
Oh, they all go to the pit. What a nice shot.
Beautiful shot. You can see Pete now starting to crank it up a little bit. A lot firmer with the ball, a lot more speed. He's getting that aggressiveness back. He started a little bit tentative, but now he's got it all together.
Now Dennis Jacques coming up in the 6th frame. He is on a spare. He is 65 in the 4th and a spare in the 5th. Shooting in the 6th. And what about all of these players going way inside on their deliveries?
Well, here's the shot. It looks like after, there have been about 8,000 lines on each lane. This is the end of the ABC tournament, so there's a lot of play. The track area is pretty much broken down, so the players have to move way inside that track area because the track area becomes unplayable. It either hooks early or it doesn't hook at all. So the players are inside trying to get the ball to fade a little bit and then hook back into the pocket.
Now Jacques.
Dennis threw a good shot on that last shot. Ball just breaking a little bit late, not quite getting the drive into the pocket. Thus, the 6 pin didn't fall into the 10 pin.
So it is Jacques 84 in the 5th and a spare in the 6th. Weber 108 in the 5th and a strike in the 6th. And Jacques now bowling in the 7th. On a spare. The big man from Middletown, Pennsylvania. Ooh, leaving that 4 pin. I think that quite a few 4 pins have been left standing in these Masters Finals.
Another very good shot by Dennis. Probably just moved just a board or even a half board off that shot on the right lane because he did came in a little bit late, left the weak 10 pin, the adjustment, a solid 4.
So picking it up, Dennis Jacques still trailing. And of course, the winner of this match now will go on to take on Tommy Kress of Rochester, New York in the 2nd match of the finals. 13 foreign players survived the 10 games of qualifying. By the way, Mike Edwards, a bowler right out of this city, Tulsa, Oklahoma, was the qualifying leader, but exited quickly in the match play phase of the tournament, losing his first 2 matches. Weber?
Good out.
Right.
Wasn't that bad a shot. Pete doesn't like the reaction or the break. He threw the ball fairly well, threw it good, got it down the lane. As we said, it just broke too late into the pocket, not driving into the 5. The ball just deflected a little bit too much to the right.
Isn't it true, Mike Aulby, that when those entries come out, the pros and the top bowlers in the country don't waste any time sending them back for their Masters applications?
If you wait too long, you don't get in. The tournament's always a success, always a big waiting list. Spare shot.
So Pete Weber picks it up and continues his healthy lead, which is 25 pins at the end of 7 frames. Weber 128 and a spare up. Dennis Jacques 103 and a spare up. And the man just to the right is Doug Mohn behind Pete Weber. Paul Mohn, M-O-H-N. Paul is the newly elected president of the American Bowling Congress. He's out of Silver Spring, Maryland. Now we have the 8th frame. And Pete Weber trying to lock it out, and we have a 10-pin for Pete.
There it is again. Not a bad shot at all. Just got the ball breaking a little bit late into the pocket. 6 not driving into the 10. Not a bad shot at all. Both players are hitting the pocket relatively well. Dennis Jacques just the one bad shot where he gave it too much room to the right, missing the head pin. Both players have been hitting the pocket very well.
Weber wasting no time. Looks like he wants to charge through this match and get it over with.
As you see, shooting the spares, Pete just goes direct and hard and straight. Thus, not letting the lane condition come into play and possibly making the ball not break or break. Just goes hard and straight out of that way, takes the condition out of it.
Dennis Jacques, who won in Windsor, Ontario on the Men's Pro Tour in 1983. His best finish this year, 3rd in the United States Open. And striking there.
Excellent shot. Dennis threw the ball very well there. Nice and firm, let the ball do all the work, and thus he got all 10 pins in the pit.
So Weber leading by 24 pins. And Jacques up in the 9th frame off a strike in the 8th. He has yet to double. He'll try to do it here.
Big shot. Dennis needs to strike here, otherwise Pete can just lock him out.
And there it is. So now we have a little more interest than we've had in the past 2 frames. He's finally cut down to within 14 pins.
Excellent shot. Dennis came through that so firm and hard. Yes, he liked that one. Anytime you see that 6-pin slap into the pin like that, excellent roll on the ball. Very strong, very hard finish.
Now we see Weber, a study of concentration. His father, a Hall of Famer, Dick Weber. Pete has battled some personal problems and won with a tremendous future as well as accolades already in a young career. What a perfect shot that appeared to be.
There's that aggressiveness Pete said he was going to use today. He was shot very well. Here it is right now. The shot in the 9th, the key, the setup frame, the 9th frame.
Yes, another look at it.
Very deliberate. The ball go high over his head. But watch the explosive release. There it is. He gave it all he could give it. Ball came back, set up, flush in the pocket. He's going to like this one. That's Pete Weber right there. That's the way he gives it all the time, 100%.
Well, the late Steve Nagy would enjoy watching this with these fellows running them out. And we go to the 10th frame. Weber on a strike in the 9th. 167 through the 8th and a strike in the 9th. And here he is in the 10th.
The chance to lock up the match right here.
With a 7th hit. As Pete goes to his knees.
He knows now that whatever he does in the 10th frame, Dennis Jacques can still win the match. He needed that strike and good count to lock out Dennis, but now no matter what Pete does, Dennis will win the match.
During the match play phase of the tournament, Weber beat Jacques 827 to 800. The format is that they bowl 10 games and then cut to the top 64. And that's when the fun begins, right, Mike? When you have to stay alive, and if you lose 2 matches early, you are gone.
You're gone, definitely.
And if you lose 1 early, then you've got to put a bunch of victories back to back to stay alive and have a chance to make the television show, which is just what this man did.
There's the one he wanted, right there. Excellent shot to throw ball to 10.
So at 207 for Pete Weber. And Jacques has a possibility of a 213, so this match is not mathematically over yet, though Jacques has to strike on his first ball here in the 10th to stay alive.
Look for Dennis to give it all the room. Sure enough, same thing he did earlier.
No, that didn't come up. But what about it now? Did he have a chance to carry them there?
You can get definitely been a good break to get a strike there, but actually, that shot wasn't that bad. A power player such as Dennis has to give the ball room to the right to strike. In a lot of situations, when you need a strike, he could have tugged the ball up the middle, left the splitter, never had any chance to strike. There, he did give the ball a chance.
So on that first ball of the 10th, he was counting on a light hit, did not get it, didn't get the carry, and it's over. Pete Weber eliminates Dennis Jacques. Well, here we see that the winner of that first match was Pete Weber, 207 to 188 over Dennis Jacques. Now, what about his second opponent, Tommy Kress?
Well, Tommy Kress is going to come out firing, I think. Tommy's made the show back in 1980 when he led the tournament. Not much TV experience, but it was a title match, so he does have enough TV experience to be a contender.
And a few moments ago, before Kress came out to face Mr. Pete Weber, Ed Bauer had this conversation with him.
Tommy, you've come from behind all week. A slow start today could be costly, however.
Yeah, it sure could be. It's only a one-game match now. It's not 4 games. I got to take it one frame at a time, basically. I've had a lot of success in the crucial shots this week, and I'm just looking forward to getting it started right now.
Okay, you're a part-time touring professional. Will the success of the Masters here this week give you the incentive to go out full-time?
Well, I have been running a pro shop back in Rochester, and I did bowl the last 10 in the winter tour with some success, you know, good weeks and bad weeks, but I planned on bowling the rest of the year anyway, and this is just a really good start to the start of the summer tour.
Good enough. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Good-looking young man, and here he is on his first ball of the Masters Finals out of Rochester, New York, Tommy Kress. And he comes in high and almost left the 4.7910, but fortunately just has the 4.7 to convert.
Yeah, a little bit anxious on the shot. Turned the ball just a slight bit early, but getting a great break and knocking the 9 out, just leaving the 4.7 to convert.
31 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds. And I believe he's single?
No, he's married.
All right.
His wife's name is Joanne.
Very good. All right. Joanne, I'm sure, is watching Tommy bowl and rooting for him, as are most of the wives in attendance or on television. As we know from many, many years of watching top-flight professional bowling competition, the women are a big part of the game, right?
They definitely are. Follow us around from week to week and go the ups and downs just like we do.
And Pete Weber, with his wife Dee Dee in the stands watching, comes up with a strike.
Excellent shot. Started right where he left off the last game. Never missed a pocket last game. Only shot 207. Could have been a lot more.
So we have Kress with a spare, Weber with a strike. Now into the second frame. And Weber, who would have to win 4 straight matches to claim his first Masters championship. Kress, a little bit older than Pete. Weber concentrating. Crowd's attention riveted on him as he runs out and leaves the 5-pin.
There's that 5-pin again. See Pete kind of stepping off the shot just a little bit, sidestepping. Threw the ball extra hard, ball just fading into the pocket instead of finishing to the left and driving the 5-pin out, ball deflecting to the right. Just caused by being a little bit excited, throwing the ball a little bit too firm.
Pete Weber, 5'7", 130 pounds. And converting the 5. Well, the winner of this match will take on a fellow who has a very unorthodox style, and Gary Bauer will see him later. That'll be our 3rd match of the Masters Finals. Now, next year, these players in the Masters and all the others, and the players who take part in the regular phase of the American Bowling Congress Championship Tournament, will be competing in Las Vegas, Nevada, what promises to be the biggest American Bowling Congress get-together ever, 50,000 bowlers. There is the 6-pin.
Almost an instant replay of the first shot. A little bit quick with his feet, thus turning the ball a little bit early. The ball not going far enough to the right before it starts breaking. Getting another good break, breaking out the 7 and the 10, just leaving the 6.
Tommy Kress trying to convert the 6-pin. An excellent bowling town, Rochester, New York, spawned Johnny Quincy, one of the early Peterson Classic champions back in the 50s.
Tommy changing to a little bit harder surface ball there. Pick up his spares, thus ball not breaking quite as sharply, making the spares a little bit easier to convert.
Kress with 19 in the first frame and a spare up. Weber with 20 in the first frame and a spare up. So Weber with the lead of a single pin. And Kress, who is a part-time pro and has developed quite a following here this week in Tulsa with his rather flamboyant style. A little like baseball's Joe Morgan with the movement of the right elbow there.
Just kind of loosen up his arm swing a little bit, letting him trust the ball, and right there, very good shot. Like you said, moving his arm, just kind of get his arm loose, maybe a little bit tense, nervousness possibly, but I think it's just to loosen up his hand and his arm.
So Pete Weber, rotating the bowling ball. Any significance to that?
Basically, he's just trying to take off the conditioner of the blade oil that's on the ball. We can see every now and then we'll see him hold the ball at the start of the stance. You'll see a slight ring around where the ball is rolling over the oil. He's just trying to get that off so the ball will roll clean every time.
Almost to go Brooklyn and leaving the 3-pin.
That's the worst shot we've seen Pete throw. Almost every shot Pete's given the ball room. That shot just turning the ball a little bit early in the bottom of his downswing, just causing the ball to break a little sharp. But getting a good break, breaking up the split.
And converting the spare. Now Weber was shocked by a fellow from Blackhawk, South Dakota, Ted Stakoff, who beat him in the first match of the match play 883 to 833, winning that 4-game match by 50 pins. Meaning Weber, as we mentioned before, had to roll through 8 consecutive opponents to make these finals before losing to Tommy Kress 845 to 800 in the final match of match play. So he and Kress have met before, and Kress won over 4 games. Now it comes down to who survives over just 1 game and goes on to the 3rd match of the finals. And a light shaking strike for Pete Weber.
Excellent break. There you saw Pete stepping off the side once again. Here's the shot. You see him watch him step off. A little bit quicker than his feet, you have to sidestep, but thus causing the ball to go far to the right. But the power piece came back, light shaker. You gotta love those shots. The head pin doing all the work, taking out 4 or 5 pins off the wall.
This is the granddaddy of them all, the American Bowling Congress Masters Championship by Columbia 300. And you can see the crowd of bowling enthusiasts this great tournament has drawn to the Convention Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Tommy Kress coming in, but here's trouble. The 5-pin wobbling and the 5-7 split.
Well, Tommy gave that one room. Here's the reaction to the shot. Ball came in just a little bit late. Light shaker left the 5-7. Ball just deflected to the right. Pete Weber left the 5-pin a couple times. Tommy leaves the 5 and the 7. You see the disgust or the disappointment on the shot.
How do you pick it up?
Tommy's going to probably move in a couple boards to the left, give the ball a little bit extra room, let the ball break in, and just touch the 5-pin on the right side, sliding the 5 into the 7.
We've seen it done, and when it is picked up, it looks just great. But it's not picked up that often.
It's probably one of the easier splits, but not in this situation. You give it room. Excellent try. You need the ball just a little bit more room to get the ball down the lane, but the conditions look a little bit tough, so it's very hard not to give it that much room. Good shot, good try at it. Thought he had it, but not too much of the 5-pin. Just need to hit the 5-pin a little bit slight. Need to cut it just a little bit more.
I know he's a good dancer, right?
He's a very exciting player. He's going to get the crowd involved, could pump him up, just keep running those shots out and get the people involved, get them behind you.
So we have our first open frame and our first split of this match. And a strike.
Very good break. Probably a little tentative after throwing the ball a little bit wide and leaving the 5-7. You automatically want to throw the ball a little bit tighter in the pocket to get it to carry. Great break, tripping the 6-10 out for a strike.
So Weber, as you see, ahead by 12. Weber is 59 pins through the 3rd and a strike up in the 4th. To Kress, 67 pins in the 4th and a strike up in the 5th. Weber ahead, just as he led all the way against Dennis Jacques. He'd love to lead all the way for the rest of this match and the next 2 en route to that $40,000.
He likes it. Excellent shot. Pete Weber trusting the ball, staying through it, not tearing the ball early, just nice relaxed swing, giving the ball all the room and letting the ball do all the work. Dead flush strike.
And his lead goes out to 22 pins on that double in the 4th and 5th frames. So Weber ahead of Kress by 22. Trying to nail down the first turkey of the finals. Tournament leader, another young man from St. Louis, Steve Wunderlich, who's And just one game as the tournament leader with a chance to win the championship against the survivor of these first 3 matches. Weber looking for a turkey.
Sidestepped again.
Leaving the 5-9.
Pete Weber just a little bit quick, getting his feet just a little bit too fast. You can see him step off the shot or not quite be in the right position or finishing position to get all he wanted on the ball. When you sidestep like that, you cannot give the ball enough room. Ball breaking sharply. Getting a good break, leaving the 5-9. This spare could be tough. He could chop the 5 very easily.
But he picked it up with no problem.
Good conversion.
Weber in qualifying shot 11.25 for his first block of 5 games, and then 9.66 for his second block. So a good 2,091 score for the first 10 games of the tournament. And by virtue of that, he made the match play field of 64 survivors. Now Kress. Ooh, on the Brooklyn side, he left the 6-9.
Once again, Tom just a little bit quick with his feet, turning the ball too early, not giving the ball a chance to go to the right and come into the pocket.
There's some tough luck stories, Mike, in the tournament. John Forrest out of the Chicago area lost a couple of games by less than 5 pins total. This man, Tommy Kress, beat Forrest by 2 pins, 842 to 840. And here he does pick up the spare in the 6th round. And after that victory over Kress, he won 3 more matches before losing to the tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich, but then beating Earl Anthony and then beating Pete Weber. So he's had a good tournament.
He knows how to win. He's in a position now where he's going to have to start striking because Pete Weber is not going to let him back in the match with an open. He's going to have to go out there and throw strikes. He just needs to settle back down, get his feet back in time, and just let the ball do all over it.
Tommy Kress had a score of 2,041. In the bowling parlance, 2041 for the first 10 games of qualifying. 50 fewer pins than Weber, but they both comfortably made the match play field. All right.
Great break. He threw the ball a lot better. Had his feet back behind, a little bit slower, was able to get the ball out to the right, trusted, getting a good break with the ball not quite deflecting as much and catching enough of the 5 pin to knock it over.
Now we'll take a look at Weber again, as his lead is right now 20 pins. Weber 107 in the 5th and a spare up in the 6th. Here he is in the 7th, trying for that maximum count to keep that lead at 20 pins. With a great backswing, with that smooth roll, and comes in high, leaving the 4.
Just breaking a hair sharp. Looked like an excellent shot. Looked like some of the other strikes he had thrown in that lane. The ball just breaking it a little bit quick, leaving the 4 for an excellent shot.
And so Pete Weber concentrating his lead down to 19 pins. Pete converting the 4 pin. So he is at 126 and a spare up in the 7th. The Kress is 107 and a strike up in the 7th. And we have 3 very interesting frames to go to see who's going to battle the unknown Mr. Gary Bauer in the next match.
Tommy's going to need some strikes here. Pete's going to try to throw a few strikes of his own to keep Tommy at bay. I'll tell you what, look for Pete to do it. He's going to put it out of the woods here.
Weber, whose father, of course, the great Hall of Famer. Tremendous champion many times over.
Excellent shot.
Oh, and the 7-pin for Weber, and he is just happy.
He'll take
He
that
didn't
break.
come up with that sweat.
That's right. He'll take that break. He threw it a lot better than what it looked like. He's firm, gave it all the room in the world, came back, got a bad break, and leaving the 7th, but a good break, picking the 5 out. Pete's only missed a pocket twice in both his matches so far.
13 foreign players were in the field, and 6 of those survived qualification and made it into match play. One of the foreign players, a Japanese bowler, shot a 299. Left only the 7-pin, and I understand it was an excellent shot on which he left the 7-pin.
Solid 7. Unbelievable. He even throw 11 strikes in a row. Excellent.
So bowling really getting worldwide attention, and it's growing all over the world.
Big shot for Tom Kress. He needs to get in this game. Good shot. Beautiful shot. Saw last time the 5-pin barely went out. This time He had all the lift he could put on the ball, came in and just ripped the 5 right out of the rack.
And so Weber's lead is down to only 8 pins as Kress has doubled in the 7th and 8th frames. And now Kress is in a position to take the lead on this shot.
It's a big 9th frame. As we say, the foundation frame is a 9th frame.
Trailing by 8. Has a chance to take the lead.
There's nervous twitch, loosening his arm up.
And to make that famous, you'll see bowlers doing that all over the United States.
It's very possible. Got it out.
Oh, yes, and Kress with a great rally in the 7th, 8th, and 9th frames. And we're going to take another look at that shot that gave him the lead.
Probably the best shot of the match for Tom Kress right here. That ball was dead flush in the pocket. He threw it out there. See the excellent lift over the foul line, letting the ball break farther down the lane, going flush in the pocket. Yes, he loved it. He'll get that crowd excited and get him going. Beautiful shot.
This fellow has a nice style, and now Pete Weber, who had led all the way against Dennis Jacques, who had led all the way until the 9th frame against Tommy Kress, is faced with having to come back here in the 9th and 10th to pull out the victory.
First time the heat's been on. Pete needs this strike. Otherwise, Tom can lock him out of the match in the 10th frame.
Very big shot coming off a spare in the 8th. Trailing by 2. Oh, he played the tight line but carried them all.
Excellent shot. Once again, Pete using the speed, getting the ball down the lane, breaking sharp into the pocket. Excellent shot in the 9th under the pressure.
Now Weber continues to trail by 2, but can take the lead with a strike here on his first ball in the 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, bottom left corner of your screen, Mr. Paul Moon, the newly elected president of the American Bowling Congress, looking on so intently.
Had some good matches so far. Both of them come down to the wire, but exciting.
And now in the bottom left corner of the screen, Bill DeHaven. You see him, the outgoing president of the American Bowling Congress, out of Dayton, Ohio. 10th frame, first shot. Weber on a strike. Oh, yes!
Yes, there he goes. Very excellent shot there by Pete Weber. You see him running out 2 or 3 lanes down.
And there's plenty of room here.
They have a lot of nobody out there bowling but those 2. Great shot. See, Pete didn't fall off that shot. Came through it, gave it all he had. There it is. The enthusiasm Pete Weber's known for.
Back in 1976, there was an Oklahoman who finished second to Nelson Burton Jr. in the Masters. Remember big Steve Carson, who pushed Nelson Burton Jr. in the match play finals. So Oklahoma's had its share of bowlers with Mike Edwards out of Tulsa, the top qualifier this year. Now Weber, looking for his 3rd consecutive strike. Big second ball in the 10th.
Another big shot.
He gunned it wide, the 2-4-5. Just caught a little piece of that head pin.
Pete not very excited with that shot. He gave it a lot of extra speed, thus the ball not being able to break enough on the back end to get the mixer off the wall. 2-4-5.
Well, you wonder if that shot, as you mentioned, the speed that he applied with that shot, is that going to be his Waterloo in this Masters? It'll be up to Mr. Kress.
You don't want to be where Pete's at right now. You want to have your own destiny in your own hands.
How many times have you been in that position with Mr. Weber?
Too many
Seated,
times.
Waiting to see what's going to happen.
Too many times. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to have your own destiny in your own hands.
All right, Duane Dow with Mike Aulby. Here's Kress on 3 in a row, going for a 4-bagger. First shot in the 10th frame. A big shot it is. Kress trying for the upset against his more heralded opponent.
He's giving room.
Oh, what a shot by Tommy Kress. Oh, Steve Nagy lives.
Excellent shot. Beautiful shot under pressure. He came right through the shot. Beautiful.
What a shot. Kress with 4 strikes in a row. And now he needs an 8 count to eliminate, to lock out Pete Weber. And you see him examining every inch of that approach.
Probably checking the approach after he did that long slide when he ran the shot out. He might have caught it on the approach a little bit, possibly rubbed some of the rubber off the bottom of his heel. Maybe he might stick this time, so that's probably what he was checking for.
All right, let's watch the shot. He needs 8 pins. Second shot, 10th frame for Tommy Kress. Oh, he shot it way wide left, Mike. What a break!
He gets 8.
Pins go down. He left only the 1-3.
He can't believe it. Pete can't believe it. Nobody can believe it. That shot there, very tentative. He was so tentative. I didn't think he was going to get it off his hand. But You need the breaks to win. He got 8. That's all he needed. Now he's checking the score to make sure that's all he needed. It's a win nonetheless. He'll take it. Threw that shot a lot better.
So it's Tommy Kress 215, Pete Weber 212. Kress goes on in the Masters. We'll be back. So here's the way it stands. Weber beat Jacques 207 to 188, but then in a thriller lost to Kress 215 to 212. Now we've got coming up the match between Tommy Kress and Gary Bauer. Not either of them known that much. However, Kress a part-time pro. Now before this match, and just a few moments ago, our Ed Bauer talked to, no relation, Gary Bauer.
Gary, as the only amateur in the final field, you've got to be considered a dark horse. Can an amateur win the Masters title?
I believe an amateur can win the title. Whether I'm the right amateur or not, I don't know, because naturally the pros have the more experience, but an amateur can win the title, yes.
You've had quite a bit of experience and success in the ABC tournament over the past 18 years. Will that help you today? Will it give you confidence to win the Masters title?
It will give me confidence because I feel comfortable in the lanes and bowling over them for the 18 years. I do have 2 titles, and I did participate in the FIQ tournament, and all the experience you can get really helps you in a tournament like this.
Good luck today, Gary.
I thank you.
And so Tommy Kress, who gave us a lot of excitement, Mike Aulby, back in the last match. Let's see if he can avoid a letdown here. Isn't that crucial?
It could be very crucial because he made such a great shot and he put so much into the running out of it that he could be out of steam.
Let's see. First shot, and it appears that the magic might still be there. He leaves the 10-pin on his first ball against Gary Bauer. And so Tommy Kress out of my hometown, Rochester, New York, a great bowling town, I might add. I remember in 1956 watching the Falstaff team coming in with Ned Day and Stan Gifford and Bill Lillard and Earl Johnson and Buddy Bomar winning the ABC team event that year. Kress converting the 10.
Could be a good start for Tom. Hitting the pocket, starting out right. Last game he started out a little bit rough, turned the ball a little bit early, but he seems to have his feet under control now, making good shots.
Now watch the unorthodox style of this man, Gary Bauer. Let's just let our viewers watch it, and after that, you can talk about it, Mike Aulby.
All right.
You must admit it's different as he left the 6-pin.
He got a great break, tripping out the 7-pin, just leaving the 6 for an easy spare.
Now, if you were to teach bowling to a youngster, as this man does in his native Middletown, Pennsylvania, would you teach him that style, Mike?
No, you'd try to put a little more, not sorry finesse, but just let the ball do all the work. He seems to be muscling the ball, using his arm to bring the ball back and forth. You just kind of want to let the ball be the weight and let the ball swing from your shoulder.
But Gary Bauer says that this is the style that works right for him, even though he doesn't teach youngsters to bowl that way.
That's right. I can't complain. I'm sitting here, he's out there bowling for big money.
Well, you bowl for your share and will continue to in the future.
So,
here is the Cinderella man of the finals.
He holds the ball fairly high, and watch him bring the ball out and around from his body. Normally, if the ball was swinging on its own, it'd be down, but watch the release. Excellent timing for the point of release, releasing right as the ball goes past his ankle. Even though he looks funny or unorthodox before, as long as you end up in the right position, it doesn't matter how you get there.
Ever watch any films of wrong-foot Louis Campy? He went off the right foot when he bowled?
Sure.
I know that's before your time, right?
A little bit.
All right, Gary Bauer. When's the last time you've seen a style like this? And he strikes.
Great crossing over. That time, he's awful deliberate with his approach, so it's easy for him to get out of time. He's not as fluid as most people would like to be. That's what caused him to turn that ball a little bit early and cross over, but a great break for a strike.
So Tommy Kress, with the match even, coming off a spare in the first, flapping that right elbow in the second frame.
It worked last game.
Strike. Let's see if it works here.
Not a bad shot.
Leaving the 4, coming in high.
Didn't quite give the ball as much room as he liked, but he seemed to slow his pace down with his feet. He's making good shots now. He's getting the ball out over the foul line, not turning the ball early at all. Looks very good the last 2 shots.
So Tommy trailing by a pin.
Once again, he changes that harder surface ball to go with the spares, a little straighter.
No problem. On the 4-pin spare, and the appreciative crowd here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And next year, these players and players from leagues everywhere will be bowling on the American Bowling Congress Championship lanes in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Cashman Field Center. And I know for the Masters, Mike Aulby, you'll be there.
I'll be there along with probably the top 20, maybe the top 50, top 100 touring pros will be there, I'm sure.
In the Masters, that field again will number 480 plus the defending champion. Ooh, coming in very high and narrowly averting a 6-7 split was Tommy Kress.
Tom will take that break, you know, kicking out the 7, just leaving an easy 6-pin for the spare. Just got his feet just a little bit quick. Last couple frames, he was slow, a little bit anxious, trying to throw strikes, turn the ball just a little early.
So the man from Rochester, New York, trying to win this match to advance to the championship match against Steve Wunderlich. And sparing in the 3rd frame. So Kress with 3 consecutive 9 counts and 3 consecutive spares. And right now, Gary Bauer leads by 2 pins as he's working on a 2nd frame strike.
Liking to get out ahead real quick here because we know Tom can throw the strikes at the end of the match like he did the first one, so he wants to get out early.
Bauer in the match play won 5 matches and lost only 1, losing only to Steve Wunderlich, the tournament leader. And a slow roll leaving the 4.
You see where he lays his ball down. Here it goes. Now watch come around the side of his body. It's a good release. Knows it's tight. A little bit heavy for the 4-pin. He sets his ball down in maybe 5 to 6 boards inside where Tommy Kress is playing. Thus, he's going to have a sharper angle to try to strike with, where Tommy has a wider angle to strike with.
He has a brother who's a pro, Darryl Bauer.
Darryl bowled in the 1984 Firestone Tournament champions by winning the Resident Pro Championship.
So it's a bowling family, and the family itself owns 3 bowling centers in Pennsylvania. Gary operates one of those centers, and he teaches youngsters, as we mentioned before. His parents are in watching as they came in from Pennsylvania to watch his effort. He would be a long shot, but then again, who'd heard of Mike Listowski before he won the Masters a few years ago?
That's right. 1-game matches, anybody can win.
We're in the 4th frame. A 2-pin lead for Gary Bauer. 40 in the 2nd, a spare in the 3rd. Kind of falls toward the foul line, doesn't he?
Definitely leans a little bit to the left, but then throws the ball off to the right. Excellent shot, flush strike in the pocket.
So he's on his way to a Dutch 200 with 60 in the 3rd and a strike up in the 4th. And now Tommy Kress, who again, we had to mention this earlier, that he is trying to avoid a letdown after an exhilarating upset win over Pete Weber.
Doesn't seem to be quite stable yet. Still a little jerky.
Kress looking for that pocket, but coming up outside the pocket, leaving the head pin in the 2.
That's right, the last shot, he was too tight with the ball. This one just giving it too much room, overcompensating for his last shot. He just seems to be struggling a little bit with his footwork. One time he's too quick, one time he's too slow.
In the Masters competition, these top pros, you have to have at least a 180 average to get in, but if that's all you average, you'd better not come.
180 doesn't quite get you there.
Well, you're eligible, but the chances to win against these great players are not that great as Kress comes up with the spare. Now, next year they'll be in Las Vegas. In 1987, Niagara Falls. 1988, the American Bowling Congress National Championship Tournament and this Masters competition will be in Jacksonville. And in 1989, Wichita. Back into the Plains area in 1989. Yeah, these people enjoy their bowling out in this particular part of the country. And Kress narrowly avoiding that 4-9 split, leaving only the 4.
Good break, getting a 9 out. It was a good ball, very good ball. Probably one of the best shots he's thrown out of the first 5 frames. Good shot, getting a good break, kicking a 9 out.
Defending champion Earl Anthony was automatically seeded into the match play and wound up the alternate for these television finals, finishing in 6th place and had some impressive victories. Tommy Kress coming up with a spare now. Mike, he has yet to strike. 5 spares in 5 frames, but Bauer hasn't really pounced on him, as Bauer has yet to double, and Bauer's lead is only 5 pins at this point, though he is working on a strike.
He's thrown some good shots so far. He left the 4-pin in between strikes, so He could possibly have had 3 in a row.
Here he is in the 5th.
He's got it inside.
And puts the pressure on Tommy Kress with a double in the 4th and 5th frames.
Once again, you can see where he lays the ball down. It's definitely 5 to 6 boards inside where Tom's laying the ball down. The ball fades to the right, and then he catches the back ends perfectly as the ball comes into the pocket dead flush. Not much reaction there, but from there it looks like he split, but you had to like the shot. It was dead flush.
So Gary Bauer with a double, the first double of this, the 3rd match in the 1985 Masters Finals, and now he goes for a turkey, trying for the turkey in the 6th frame. Can this man survive and go on to play Steve Wunderlich for the championship? Oh, another one, 3 in a row, and the pressure is on now as Gary Bauer coming through with a turkey.
It was an excellent shot. You saw the 6 pin on the right-hand side, slapped the 10 right out. That means the ball was rolling as strong as you can roll it. We saw Pete Weber do that, but as you can see, Gary doesn't throw the ball near like Pete does, but yet his ball was rolling strong enough to do the same thing.
So in the middle of the 6th frame, Tommy Kress trailing by 25 pins on a spare. Unhappy with that shot, but they all went down.
Once again, he's still struggling with his timing. A little bit quick, not able to throw the ball to the right side. Ball hooked early, but a great break, tripping out the 6 and the 10 for a strike. He needs to get things going, or Gary's just going to run away with him. He's throwing the ball dead flush in the pocket the last 4 shots. Gary's got the heat on him now.
You know, the way Kress is walking around, have you ever seen anybody walk out of the building between frames to cool off?
Well, after he ran that 1 out, I thought he was going out the side door, but I think for the big money he's bowling for, he'll stay.
He needs this double in the 7th frame. Kress 95 in the 5th, strike in the 6th.
He's really having trouble getting set now. Let's give it room.
Oh, and he did.
Same shot that Gary threw on that left lane. You see the 6 take the 10 out. Here it is. He's got his feet down, perfect timing. Right as his foot gets the foul line, the ball's coming through. He likes it. There's some emotion for you. He knew when he had a strike. Excellent.
So Tommy Kress mounting a comeback, now trailing by 15 pins. This man, the leader, Gary Bauer. And if you'd mentioned all the names in the Masters field, you wouldn't have picked this gentleman to be this far. Just a game and a half away from the championship at this point.
Got it inside.
And the 7 pin.
Well, he didn't throw the ball too bad. He had it outside, a little bit to the right of his target. The ball didn't quite hit as high in the pocket. Deflected way to the right, but got a great break and just caught the 5 pin and knocked it out, leaving only the 7.
A little Masters lore, only a couple of men have won this tournament in back-to-back years. Dick Hoover in Tommy Kress' hometown, Rochester, New York, won in 1956 and then won again in 1957. Billy Whaley won in 1964 and then again in 1965. Now Gary Bauer on a strike in the 6th and hoping for a spare in the 7th.
Good shot at that spare. Nice and smooth delivery. Been tough so far. He's got a good lead on Tom right now, but Tom has a chance to get back in the match.
Kress has whittled Bauer's lead down from 25 pins to 14. And so Bauer is 139 in the 6th and a spare in the 7th. Will be bowling in the 8th with a lead of 14 pins. Now think of the pressure, because the survivor of this match will have a crack at $40,000 first prize money in the title match against Steve Wunderlich. 8th frame, let's watch it.
Came through it very good. Oh, wasn't a bad ball. Ball just didn't break quite as sharp into the pocket like it last time did on that lane, leaving the weak 10 pin. Ball deflected too much, the 6 pin just laid in the gutter.
And so a little disappointed, knowing that Kress is coming back at him with a double, and now his lead is down to 8.
You see the big difference with the 2 styles. Gary's very deliberate with what he does. Tommy's kind of nice and loose and just trying to get things to feel right. See how deliberate Gary's? He's set, and that's it. He's ready to go.
And the man from Pennsylvania converting the 10-pin spare in the 8th frame. So he continues to lead late in the match. Bauer 158 in the 7th and a spare in the 8th. We have Kress with 95 through the 5th. working on a double as he is trying for his third consecutive strike here in the 8th frame.
See how long it takes him to get ready. See, there's his twitch.
Young man from Rochester, New York, trying to bring some glory to his town. They had a world basketball champion back in 1951, the Rochester Royals. Bobby Davies, remember him? Well, I do as a youngster growing up in Rochester. Now Tommy Kress. Oh, what a
Beautiful
shot.
shot. Excellent shot. Perfect timing. Had the ball out over the foul line. Ball broke sharp into the pocket. Dead flush strike. Beautiful shot.
You know, with his performance today, I know he's a part-time pro. If he can win this tournament, why, I would think he'd be thinking about going out there full-time.
He can definitely compete out on the tour. It's just a matter of whether he wants to or not. You know, a lot of guys don't like the lifestyle. A lot of guys have things to do at home.
And then there are those weeks when there's no paycheck.
That's true. Those are too many of them sometimes.
That's a test, right, Mr. Aulby?
That's right.
Well, what a great year you're having. Great to have you with us. And what happened there, Mike, as apparently it wasn't any camera movement down lane. Tommy just pulling away of his own volition there.
No, you saw him flinch there right at the end of that. It looked to me like maybe his thumb might have slipped, or maybe if he has tape inside the ball, it might have curled up on him and kind of caught his thumb. Yeah, you can see him shake his hand. He must have hurt his thumb inside the ball. Possibly slipped, or maybe just kind of caught it just a bit in there.
And there's no way you want to make a shot in this situation when you're not totally ready.
He's very smart in that respect to stop. Most people would go on, throw it, you know. But Tom, smart, professional bowler, stopped, regrouped himself, and now he's ready to make the next shot.
In the 9th frame, Kress looking for a 4-bagger. He shot. He can take the lead.
Oh.
No, the 4-pin foiled him as Kress
Can't
winds up
believe
on
it.
his knees.
Here's the shot. Gets the ball out over the foul line. Looks like a good shot. He likes it. Just broke a little bit sharp, leaving the 4. Looks around to make sure it's still there. It's still there, the 4-pin.
This fellow has to have more movement than anybody we've seen on national television in many years.
A long time. Very exciting player. And I'll tell you what, he's just as exciting off the lanes. Very nice guy. He'd talk to you for hours if you had the time.
Well, I'm sure in upstate New York they are thrilling to this one. A battle between upstate New York and the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. To be precise, Middletown, Pennsylvania is where this man operates a bowling center.
Gary, very deliberate, actually very slow. It takes a lot of time to get started.
So Bauer, with a slim lead in the 9th frame, on a spare. Oh, coming through the nose, but he almost carried them as he left the 4-pin.
It's a little bit sharp, didn't quite give it the room he wanted. Here you can see it. Watch the end of his release. It's a little bit of a jerk, causing him not to be able to give the ball all the room he needed. See him kind of jerk through that one a little bit, sidestep, cause him to pull it.
Well, if Gary
There
Bauer,
you can see the disgust there.
if he goes on to win the Masters, it'll be another great story they can talk about in Bowling Magazine, the fine publication of the American Bowling Congress, like Mike Listowski going through the tournament, only using 1 bowling ball a few years ago en route to the victory.
That's very hard to do nowadays, use only 1 bowling ball. All right, he stayed clean all his spares. That was a close one, but still sparing them.
And so each player sparing in the 9th. And we have Bauer leading by 3 pins, heading into the 10th. 177 to 174, each player on a spare. Bauer ready for his first shot in the 10th. What drama in this granddaddy of all the bowling championships.
That's what we talked about before. The destiny is in his own hands. This is where you want to be, able to win the match for yourself in the 10th frame.
I wouldn't want to make a prediction right now.
I wouldn't either.
Bauer, first ball in the 10th.
Long time. Didn't give it any room.
Oh, and the baby split the 310. Certainly he can convert this one.
Here it is. He got the ball in. You see the ball break about 5 feet earlier than the last balls did, breaking sharply, kicking out the 6, leaving the 310. He's got a good chance of picking this up. The way he throws the ball, you can see the ball fade or kind of shag to the right as it goes across the lane. Good chance of picking this up.
This could be the biggest shot of his life coming up right now.
Without this, he's in definite trouble. He needs this to put any kind of pressure on Tom Kress at all.
Second shot, 10th frame.
He's got it in. He got it inside.
No, he went open. And what a time to come up with an open frame.
It is
As
again.
Gary Bauer shot a 204.
As you see, he pulled the ball inside his target just a little bit, but the ball didn't, it hooked too early. Just didn't get through that one like he wanted to.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tommy Kress needing a mark.
This is where you want to be. Destiny's in your own hands. Right here.
Kress, 174 in the 8th and a spare in the 9th. Bauer wound up with a 204. Kress needs a strike or a spare.
The only mark he wants, I'm sure, is a strike. Taking a little extra time. Got through it.
Oh, and he got the strike.
Oh, yeah.
Down the big one in the 10th
He
frame.
knows that's it. He knows he needs nothing else. That's all he needed was a 10.
So Tommy Kress with a strike on the first ball in the 10th frame. Now needs just to keep the ball on the lane. All he needs is one pin on the next two shots.
I think he can make the same shot he made the last game in the 10th frame and still be all right.
Just one pin for the win. Plenty of them.
That's all he
one
wants.
strike.
He just wants to keep that one on the lane. I'll tell you what he needs to do here, though. He needs to stay lined up here. Even though he's got the game locked up, he still should be trying to hit the pocket and make sure he's lined up for that title match. It's easy to have a letdown having the game wrapped up, but you still should give it everything you've got. Make sure you're ready for that title match.
So Tommy Kress strikes out in the 10th frame, shoots a 224 to Gary Bauer's 204. It's Kress battling Steve Wunderlich for the Masters Championship. Coming up next. So one match to go. After Pete Weber beat Dennis Jacques and then lost to Tommy Kress by 3 pins, and then Kress rallied to beat Bauer 224 to 204. Now Tommy Kress versus Steve Wunderlich for the 1985 Masters Championship. This is it for the title, the $40,000 top prize. Ed Bauer, a few moments ago, had this conversation with the tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich.
Steve, you out-averaged your opponents this week by 25 pins a game, over 6 matches, 24 games. Seems like you come out of the gate with the big game. Can you come out with the big one today?
Well, I sure hope so. You're right. The key to my success all week was the fact that I could get on my opponents quick, and then they had to catch me, and I hope to do that again today.
You've made the TV finals 11 times, but this is the first time from the #1 seed. Is there more pressure today than in previous tournaments?
Well, maybe a little because of the money, but my success on TV has been the first game. Almost every tournament I've ever bowled on TV, I've won the first game and then gotten beat in the second or third, so I feel confident that I can do that one more time.
Good luck today, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Tommy Kress will lead off in the championship match. Duane down with Mike Aulby on the commentary. This is it for the most coveted title in the entire sport of bowling. One of the real big ones, the Masters. First ball of the title match is a 4-pin leave. And we have seen our share of 4-pin leaves, not only in the finals, but throughout the last 5 days.
Definitely, just because the guys aren't giving the ball enough room. They're trying to keep the ball in the pocket, but yet they don't really want to open up because they're afraid the ball won't come back sharp enough and hit the pins hard enough. So that's why we're seeing a lot of the 4 pins so far.
Wunderlich was undefeated in match play. He won 6 consecutive matches without defeat. And here is Tommy Kress going at him with a spare in the first frame. So the man from Rochester, New York, who has won his first 2 matches of these finals, already has assured himself of his biggest prize ever, a check for at least $25,000. Now Steve Wunderlich, the tournament leader out of St. Louis, 27 years old. Good-looking young man, as you see. First frame for the championship.
Good shot.
And the 5-pin
And a good
topples lately to a pit. And so we are even at the end of 1.
Good opening start for the tournament leader. It's always kind of tough sitting on the sidelines for 3 games, waiting to see who you're going to bowl. So that first shot's a big one. You want to come out aggressive, but you want to make a good shot too. You don't want to put yourself in an early hole. Came out aggressive, made a good shot, got a good break off the sideboard, kicking out the 5.
He and his wife, Cindy, travel in a trailer around the tour. They met at the University of Missouri. Steve, out of that great bowling city of St. Louis, that spawned many Masters champions.
Got it in just a little bit.
Baby split, 310.
Turned the ball just a little early, not giving it as much room as he would have liked. Could have been because on the other frame he gave it a little bit extra room. Almost left the 5-pin. This time he tightened it up, turned a little bit early, the ball hooked, leaves a 310.
There have been 9 Masters champions from St. Louis. 9 of them.
Steve's one of the best spare shooters on the tour, one of the most consistent players on the tour. He'll give this a good shot. Playing deep at it, sliding across, perfect.
Nice conversion of the baby split for the tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich. So Wunderlich, who earlier defeated Tommy Kress 829 to 704 for his 5th of 6 match game victories, or match victories. Each match, 4 games, and they are grueling confrontations, as I'm sure Mike Aulby would tell you, having experienced the Masters over the years. Now Kress. Brooklyn hit, leading the 6.
Once again, the star of the match, Tom Kress battling his timing. His feet are either too fast or too slow. This time, watch his feet take off very quickly. In essence, he turns the ball a little early, not giving the ball enough room to the right. He knows it. 6-pin, easy spare. He'll take it.
This is by far the finest performance ever in his 3 Masters for Tommy Kress, whose best paycheck before today in the Masters was $700, making the cut in 1983. He'll make a lot more than that today. So we're very, very close. At the end of 2 frames, it is a 1-pin lead for Steve Wunderlich. But Kress is no stranger to being behind, is he, in these finals?
No stranger. Tommy hasn't started any of his matches very well. He's had trouble in the early opening frames, but he's finished with a flurry of strikes. But he better not do that this time because Steve Wunderlich will bury him if he gives him a chance.
Third frame.
He threw that real well.
And a nice strike in the 3rd for Tommy Kress.
Excellent shot. Great extension, came through the ball real well, stayed right behind the ball, gave it a lot of room. Excellent shot.
Now, we talked about Tommy Kress trailing early so far in these finals. Here's a man who has led his matches throughout the tournament. He said it's been a big part of his success, jumping on his opponents early.
It's been a big success to him, but also he's bowled well mentally to keep doing that time after time.
3rd frame, on a spare.
Came through it real well.
Oh!
Excellent shot. Steve came through that. You can see the follow-through. We'll get a shot. Look at this here. Watch the follow-through with Steve Wunderlich. Great extension, arm lock behind, shoulder length. Great follow-through all the way through. Nothing but extension. Excellent shot. All 10 pins in the pit.
And so the tournament leader needing just this championship match victory for the $40,000 first prize check. How about some of the big players who did not even make it beyond qualifying? Mark Roth, Marshall Holman, Wayne Webb. My partner on the broadcast, Mike Aulby, who pulled out with a sore arm during the qualifying. So now Wunderlich, who is yet to ever win a tour event.
A good shot.
And a strike for Wunderlich, a double.
Here's a shot again. Watch, just once again, watch the extension, watch the follow-through. Perfect. All the way through, follow-through past his head, he knows it's there. Once again, a perfect strike. Tommy Kress needs to get something going quick. Steve Wunderlich has the potential to bury him.
So these 2 good-looking young men, they could maybe apply for matinee idol roles on daytime TV, don't you think, Mike?
Oh, I think so, sure.
Here's Kress. He's come this far. You know, he doesn't want to stop here. He's on a strike in the 3rd. Here he is in the 4th, trailing by 11 pins.
You got it inside.
Right through the nose, double wood, plus the 10-pin, the 3-9-10.
Once again, this shot here, feet too quick, didn't give the ball a chance to the right, ball hooked early, 3-9-10. It's a very tough split. Not only can, if you go the normal way, pick up the 3-10, you're going to leave the 9. He's got to hit heavy on the 3, but still enough to deflect into the 10 and also take out the 8.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, championship match, 1985 American Bowling Congress Masters Championship.
It's a tough spare the way he's shooting at it. He needed to go more up the boards, more direct, get the ball farther down the lane, and then so it wouldn't break quite as sharply as it did there.
Hey, Mike, there's a bonus The Masters champion, in addition to pocketing $40,000, will get the free use of an AMC Cherokee for 1 year. That's nice.
That is a nice addition. Not only the $40,000, but something extra like that that you can keep and remember for the whole year.
Yeah, especially nice because I hear you fellas travel just a bit.
We travel quite a lot, probably about 50,000 miles a year. Tommy Kress, a little bit better shot.
Ooh, but he is trouble here, leaving the 4-6, and there's not much you can do with that one.
No, he's very disappointed now. He knows that he's in a lot of trouble because Steve Wunderlich has hit the pocket 3 out of the 4 shots. That shot didn't look that bad. Maybe just a little bit early with his feet, but still, he gets a bad break, 4-6, almost impossible.
So, we have the second split in 2 frames for Tommy Kress. And he has dug himself quite a hole halfway through the match.
It's a big goal. He knew it. You can see the look on his face. He knew he was in trouble.
Kress is 76 and open through 5 frames. Wunderlich is 40 in the second, working on a double, and now trying for a turkey here in the 5th.
He can really put this one out of the woods quick if he keeps striking. Of course, Tom is finished with a blaze of strikes, so he's not out of it yet either.
I have an interesting anecdote to relate after this shot concerning this young man, Steve Wunderlich. What a nice roll.
Perfect. Excellent. Once again, good follow-through. Got the ball out on the lane. Dead flush strike.
What happened in 1982 when he shot 20-11 in Baltimore for the qualifying? He left the tournament thinking he wasn't going to make it, but as it turned out, had he stayed, he would have made it to the match play.
The scores dropped the last day, and Steve was already home. Couldn't make it back in time for the next morning for his first match. They brought in the alternate, Dave Macy.
He guessed wrong.
Guessed wrong, definitely.
I'm sure that won't happen again.
I'm sure it won't, especially now that he's got a chance to win it all.
Well, I enjoyed doing the Masters that year for the American Bowling Congress, with the champion being Joe Berardi, who won it in a flourish. Oh, is Wunderlich on his game now. What a beautiful roll as he goes for 4 in a row. A 4-bagger for Steve Wunderlich.
I'm sure if you went and asked Steve right now, those were the 4 best shots he's thrown in his career. Perfect strikes.
Tommy Kress trying to make another comeback. He came back to beat Pete Weber. He came back to beat Gary Bauer.
A little slower, much better. Excellent. That was his best shot by far. Had his feet under control, let the ball do all the work. You can see how much easier it was, the follow-through, the way the ball rolled. Everything was perfect there. He's never come back from this far down, though. He's got a long way to go.
He is 56 pins behind at the end of 6 frames, facing the tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich, who is red hot and needing himself to mount a strike barrage. Here he is in the 7th, looking for a double.
Got the ball out. Coming back.
Leaving the 5. These players are bowling on the same lanes where over 40,000 bowlers from leagues all over the United States competed in the American Bowling Congress National Championships, a tournament that started in February and goes until May. And they had all different types of competition in doubles, singles, and team. The Masters, the companion event for the best bowlers in the world. And the spare. 13 foreign players were in the Masters, and as we mentioned a little earlier, 6 of those did make the cut when it came time for match play. Players from Japan, from England, from Sweden, from all over the world, and look at the man seated with his head in his hands.
He knew how important that last shot was. He knew he needed to mount a barrage of strikes, and each one he doesn't strike from here on out, he knew he was in trouble.
But when the tears dry, even if he doesn't win, he's going to have his biggest payday ever.
That's some condolence, I guess, but of course we all want to win. Oh, great break, great break.
Let's watch it again, Mike Aulby.
It is, he got that ball inside his target, came through it good, but just not giving it as much room as he gave the other 4. Breaking right through the nose, but watch this break, kicking out the 7 and the 10 last. Watch this, here they go. Excellent. When you're loose and you got things going, nothing can stop you.
It appears to be Steve Wunderlich's tournament. After being the only player to sweep through the field in match play undefeated, winning 6 consecutive matches. He's on 5 in a row. Oh, Mike leaving the 2-4-5.
Too much, maybe a little bit of overcompensation for the last shot by getting the ball in. This time he gives it a little too much room. 2-4-5, tough spare, but Steve, like I said, a good spare shooter that he is. no problem.
As we look at Kress, Wunderlich's victories in match play were over K. Douglas Henry, Del Delaney, Mike Bovia, Rick Pollard, Tommy Kress, and Gary Bauer. So two of the men who made it to the finals already lost to this man in the match play phase of the tournament. And no trouble on the 2-4-5 conversion.
See Steve shooting that spare from the left side, breaking down the angle to keep from chopping 2 of the pins off the 5-pin.
Wunderlich's lead is 61 pins in the middle of the 8th frame. And while we had some drama earlier, now it appears to be only a matter of time. Kress coming in high and leaving the 6.
Gets a break, kicking the 7-pin out. Just, he's lost all his momentum, all his speed, threw that ball just a little slow. He got it out, over target, but just lost his speed, too slow.
Earl Anthony just missed the television finals, wound up 6th and made a check of $7,600. As you see, Kress spared. Dennis Jacques made $10,500 for 5th. Pete Weber, $14,800 for 4th. Gary Bauer, $19,500 for 3rd. They allow sportscasters in this thing? You have to have a 180 average, right? That would
That's right.
out. That's a lot of money. Boy, if the players had known 30 years ago what the money would build, how it would build today. 1, 2, 4.
Tommy Kress, he's just lost all concentration now. A little dejected. Lost the ball, just threw it out, too much room. He's converted spare.
Should he finish 2nd, it would be $25,600.
That'll make it a little bit easier, but like I said, we all want to win, especially a major title like the Masters.
What a tournament the young man from Rochester, New York has had. 31-year-old Tommy Kress. A little disappointed with his effort against Steve Wunderlich, but the way Wunderlich is bowling, there aren't many players who could match him strike for strike, do you think, right now?
Not at all. Got all the confidence in the world, throwing the ball just excellent.
He's on a spare in the 8th. Earlier he had 5 in a row. Look at that roll.
Perfect. Another excellent shot, got the ball out over the foul line. Ball broke slightly to the right, then back to the left. Just a perfect strike. All 10 pins in the pit.
Wunderlich leading by 65 pins as we go into the 10th frame, and he is your champion. He is the 1985 American Bowling Congress Masters champion.
Another beautiful shot. That's the way you like to see the tournament leader come out. Aggressive, all 10 frames, so you see the congratulations. Just an excellent game bowl by the tournament leader.
Hey, what is it about the town of St. Louis? Nelson Burton Jr. from St. Louis won in 1976. His brother Neil Burton from St. Louis in 1980. Randy Lightfoot from St. Louis in 1981. And now in 1985, another man from the city by the arch, Steve Wunderlich. Looks like he can go on for another 10 or 12 frames.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I think we better move to St. Louis.
Well, Mike Aulby, you've done a great job putting Indianapolis on the bowling map, I'll tell you that.
And, you know, Tommy Kress has nothing to feel sorry for or be disappointed in his showing. He bowled so well, made some clutch strikes in the 10th when he needed them. Bowled just excellent today. He was just no match for the tournament leader.
So leaving the 6 pin on the final shot, and a 256 by Steve Wunderlich, including 5 strikes in a row from the 3rd to the 7th frames as Kress leaves the 4 pin on his first shot of the 10th. Kress enters the 10th with 132 in the 8th and a spare up in the 9th. Again, Wunderlich shot 256. 9 strikes for Wunderlich in the championship match victory. So he'll win that $40,600 top prize and have use of the AMC Cherokee for a year. And Cindy Wunderlich in the stands has to be a happy woman. Tom Kress, what a great tournament for the young man from Rochester, New York. He shot 171 in the championship match. And here's the way it winds up. Wunderlich, 256. Kress, 171. Mike Aulby and I will be back to talk more about it in just a moment. Steve Wunderlich defeats Tommy Kress for the 1985 Masters Championship, 256 to 171. And Steve Wunderlich makes his first pro title a national championship. Same thing happened to my partner on the broadcast, Mike Aulby, when just after a couple of months as pro, Mike, he beat Earl Anthony for the PBA national title. So you can relate to Wunderlich's victory.
I think it's going to take a couple weeks for him to sink in what he's accomplished, but After that, it's going to give him a lot of confidence out on the lanes. I think you're going to see a lot more titles for Steve.
I'm sure you will. He's 27 years old. Now, let's face it, he's been struggling. He has that $40,600, and that has to be a great thing for him.
Not only does it give him a little more confidence, but it also loosens up his wallet. Now he's got his expenses for another year, and you just go out and enjoy the bowling and have a good time.
Not only that, but he says he's always wanted to compete in the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and now as Masters winner, he's able to go to the Firestone.
I'm sure he might have another couple of titles by the time the Firestone comes around. Maybe he'll win that one too.
Well, Mike, I really enjoyed working with you on the broadcast. You've had a great 1985. I know we're going to hear a lot more from you in the bowling world, and let's do it again soon.
Thank you, Duane. Appreciate it.
And maybe we'll be talking about you on the lanes in the Masters Championship next year.
Let's hope so in Las Vegas.
All right. That's where the crowd will go as the American Bowling Congress National Championships Tournament and the Masters Tournament will be in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1986. It'll be the biggest crowd of bowlers ever, over 50,000. And if you're a local league bowler, by all means, try to make it. It's going to be a great show. We hope you've enjoyed the telecast of the 1985 American Bowling Congress Masters Tournament by Columbia 300, presented by the American Bowling Congress, serving bowling since before the turn of the century.